No, we're still working through the details, so we don't know that yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
Well, it
hoping.
doesn't change my
We're hoping
pay.
by the end of the month.
Well, it doesn't change my pace. so
Recording in
I'll-
progress.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the special meeting of the St. Joe County Redevelopment Commission. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mr. Garrett, do we have to take roll?
Sure. Mr. Lane? Present?
Present.
Mr. File?
Present.
Mr. Jordan?
Present.
And currently, there is no one online.
Okay.
So
Mr. Shalio?
Yes, sir. So what we'd like to do, we have three resolutions before you today, Resolution 2023-09, 10, and 11. So I'd like to give a little overview of what those are and kind of the purpose of why we're here today, and then maybe talk briefly about each of the resolutions. So the purpose of the resolutions, back in 2020 and 2021, we started the process to obtain options on three property groups. So property A, property B, and property C, in what is now IEC Site 1. Property A was land owned by the Sebasti family. Property B was land owned by Ken Sebasti Jr. We have since, the Redevelopment Commission has since purchased that property. And then option C area was a Kaminsky property. Kaminsky's owned property at the northwest corner of State Road 2 in Larison. So the subject of today's first two resolutions relate to property option group A and property option group C. Those are, again, options that we will, that we took and that are transferable, and so we'll go through that process to transfer those. Resolution 2023-11 relates to three parcels owned by the Redevelopment Commission. Those properties were purchased, they were owner-occupied houses, purchased over a period of time, demolished, and again, assembled as part of what would become this larger IEC Site 1. Today, we went through it, well, back last summer, back in June of 2022, we went through a process to prep those properties for disposition. Today, we move forward with approving a purchase agreement to dispose of those properties. So specific to 2023-09, this resolution and the associated assignment of option will assign the option to General Motors for the Sebasti property, so property option group A. Resolution 2023-10 will do the same with the Kaminsky property, so it will assign the option to General Motors. And then Resolution 2023-11 approves a purchase agreement at the amount of $270,500 for those three properties owned by the Redevelopment Commission. That value is established by the average of two independent appraisals. So we offer the property for sale at the average of two appraisals, and so that's the average value for those properties. So what we'd like to do today is begin the process, asking for your approval of the three resolutions to move these properties forward. These properties would be moved forward to allow General Motors to study the option agreements and prepare those properties if they choose to move forward for purchase. At your last meeting on June 6th, so on Tuesday of this week, we approved the development agreement. These properties cannot be executed until the development agreement is signed. So it's a protection that as they move forward, they can't be purchased before the development agreement is signed. And again, we anticipate that those steps would happen, we anticipate, before the end of this month. If there's any questions about these documents, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, hearing no questions, for Resolution 2023-9, I'd make a motion we approve it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Lane, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. File?
Aye.
And Mr. Jordan?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Okay, for Resolution 2023-10 for the Kaminsky property, again, I'd make a motion we approve the transfer of the option.
A second.
We again have a motion and a second. Mr. Lane, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. File?
Aye.
And Mr. Jordan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And then finally, for Resolution 2023-11, St. Joseph County Commission or Redevelopment Commission assigning it or selling it to GM LLC. I make a motion to approve.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Lane, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. File?
Aye.
And Mr. Jordan?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
At this time, there's no additional business. I would note that the next meeting is scheduled for July 11th, but of course, subject to any special meetings that need to occur between now and the 11th.
Okay. Okay, we're going to the public comment section. If anyone would like to come up and make a public comment, as usual, you have a 3-minute limit, and please have your name and address, state for the record. Thank you.
Good morning, Deborah Durrell, 21677 Otten Road, South Bend. Thank you for your work this morning. I got the notice about this meeting at about 8 o'clock this morning, and I was on my way to an appointment and a long-awaited bike ride. So I appreciate the timeliness. I was coming down this way. I thought I'd swing in. I have not had time to read the agreement, obviously. I do feel that we have made some pretty important progress along with the development interests. I think Bill and Abby and Sean and their related staff have done a lot of good work with bringing the environmental concerns and the community concerns into the envelope of the development concerns. However, on this particular issue, I just want to ask and comment that we are still waiting on the IEC overlay part 2 to be completed. We are still waiting on the updated comprehensive plan to be completed. We have had no recent information on where we stand on those things. And I'm wondering if, number one, this agreement includes anything that those 2 documents would affect, and also in the reverse. So I'm hoping that someone could answer me a little bit now and maybe further outside of this meeting. Thank you.
Okay, would anyone else like to speak before the commission? Is there anyone online? No. Seeing we have no other public comment, is there a motion to adjourn?
A motion?
I'll second it.
The motion is second. Mr. Lane, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Pyle?
Aye.
And Mr. Jordan?
Aye.
We are adjourned.